no RT-PCR test result, no saliva test result, no antigen test result, no medical certificate, no barangay clearance, and no coordination letters required for these destinations. Only the good old valid ID, your ticket, and some contact tracing application. These are the 10 domestic destinations in the Philippines with no travel requirements as of June 2021. Stay tuned and watch the video to know more. Welcome to DenZ TV. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you receive updates as they are posted. Before we proceed to the list of places with no travel requirements, here are some reminders. Please take note that these requirements are only true at the time of the posting of this video. Requirements may change without prior notice, so please check the video description for updates to this list. First on the list is Lapu-Lapu City via Philippine Airlines and AirAsia. So it says here that there is no need to present acceptance letters, travel authority, negative RT-PCR test, medical certificates, and other travel documents. So no RT-PCR, no quarantine policy in Lapu-Lapu City for returning local residents, APOR, and domestic tourists, provided that they should not exhibit any symptoms and passes the symptom screening test at ports of entry and exit. Passengers shall wear face mask and face shield, observe physical distancing, comply with the contact tracing requirements and other public health standards mandated by Lapu-Lapu City government. Guests bound for Lapu-Lapu City via Cebu Pacific Air are not required to present any travel document requirements. However, they will only be allowed entry into the city if they pass the symptom screening at entry points. Please make sure to have a valid ID at all times. Second on the list is Mandaue City via Cebu Pacific Air. So same with Lapu-Lapu City, all guests bound for Mandaue City are not required to present any travel document requirements. They will only be allowed entry into the city if they pass a symptom screening at entry points. And please prepare a valid ID at all times. Third on the list is Clark City via Philippine Airlines. This is for all guests arriving in Clark City. The movement of all persons shall be limited to accessing goods and services from permitted establishments. For work in such establishments or for such other activities herein allowed, comply with the minimum public health standards during your stay in the province. Fourth on the list is Catarman via Philippine Airlines. This is for all guests, and you are required to register at Catarman.today portal, which is the contact tracing system used by the local government unit. The requirements for Catarman says that RT-PCR test requirement is not mandatory unless required by the provincial government of Northern Samar. Travelers who do not exhibit any COVID-19 symptoms and are not considered close contact of a COVID case shall no longer be required to undergo quarantine upon arrival at the local government unit. Fifth on the list is Pagadian via Cebu Pacific Air. This is for all non-APOR guests going to Pagadian City. Okay, so all guests bound for Pagadian City that are non-APOR are required to present a valid government-issued ID with address in Pagadian City. So that is the only requirement that you have to comply. Number 6 is Camiguin via Philippine Airlines, and this is only applicable for locally stranded individuals. So only LSIs have no travel requirement. You only have to present a valid ID. Number 7 is Basco Batanes via Philippine Airlines, and the no requirement or no travel requirement policy only applies to locally stranded individuals, because the only requirement that it contains based on their on the Philippine Airlines travel guide is that a negative RT-PCR test is optional for locally stranded individuals. So you may or may not get an RT-PCR test. Number 8 on the list is Manila via Philippine Airlines and AirAsia. So this is for locally stranded individuals and authorized persons outside of residence. So all passengers must present a valid ID for LSIs and a company ID or employment certificate for APOR. Okay? You present this upon check-in and you comply with LGU requirements of final destination. So if you're going to Cavite, Laguna, or wherever, you have to comply with the LGU requirements there if there are. But during check-in, you won't be required to present any travel documents. 9th on the list is Butuan City via Philippine Airlines. This is for all guests that are not coming from NCR Plus, because all persons with travel history from highly urbanized cities of NCR, the municipality of Pateros, and the provinces of Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, and Rizal must also present negative RT-PCR or rapid antigen test result conducted within 5 days before departure from the point of origin. Okay, so also all persons with travel history from outside Caraga showing any signs and symptoms of COVID-19 shall be subjected to mandatory testing and quarantine protocols upon arrival. However, if you are not coming from NCR Plus, you don't have to present any travel document going to Butuan upon check-in. And the last but not the least, 10th on the list is San Jose, Mindoro via Cebu Pacific Air. This is for all guests, and all guests, based on government regulations, guests bound for San Jose are required to present a confirmed S-Pass registration to be accepted for flight. So aside from your ID, ticket, and maybe a Trace app or a StaySafe.ph registration, you also have to present an S-Pass registration. And those are the 10 domestic destinations with no travel requirements. As of June 2021, we have Lapu-Lapu City, Mandaue City, Clark, Catarman, Pagadian, Camiguin, Basco, Batanes, Manila, Butuan, and San Jose, Mindoro. Thank you so much for watching. If you find the content of this channel valuable, remember to subscribe. Feel free to check out the other videos as well.